promoting inclusive green growth. These projects are aimed at strengthening civil society's participation and engagement in Namibia's development agenda. Well, joining us to expound on this project is the EU Ambassador to Namibia, Madam Beatriz Martins. Good evening and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being here. To start with, I want to look at the objectives of this initiative, the support to civil society for inclusive and sustainable green growth initiative in Namibia. And perhaps you can talk to us also about how this grant, will contribute to achieving the objectives of the initiative.
So Namibia has established a strategic partnership with the European Union some over 2 years ago on green hydrogen and critical raw material value chains, and this is where this project fits in. It is intended to, Namibia has reached out to the European Union in order to have a partner to leapfrog towards green economy and green industrialization. And from the European Union side, we were looking and are looking for partners to help us become carbon neutral by 2050. And this is really the basis of this relationship, which is underpinned also by loans and grants that we have. For this specific project, for these three projects that we're going to start kicking off now, we have allocated 42 million Namibian dollars for 3 projects. And the objective really is to complement other activities that we are already supporting in Namibia, in particular the private sector, to roll out the green hydrogen, a number of green hydrogen initiatives. We're also supporting the capacity of the administration, the Namibian administration. We're supporting also vocational training programs, and civil society is part of that. It's what we call the 360-degree approach. So create an enabling environment for business where we look at all aspects, both the needs of the private sector, but also institution building capacities, and but also the people who are also stakeholders in this, and they're best represented by civil society organizations who can make them participate in this journey that Namibia is going towards.
And what are the roles that Namibian civil society organizations will play in implementing these green hydrogen projects? How will their contributions be monitored? The role really is of civil society is, in any democracy, the role of civil society is to contribute to accountability, transparency, and bring information to the people, to communities that are affected by public policies. And this is also the objective of this project. Really, it's to empower and enable and resource civil society organizations that took part in this very competitive bid, actually, to really build the capacity of civil society organizations in the green energy sector, as well as the extractive industry sector, as Namibia is moving towards green energy, as well as to oil and gas and mining, which is the backbone of the economy. So really to build information, to build understanding and information, disseminate information towards concerned people, as well as provide policy analysis on the economic, environmental, social aspects of these economic reforms that are taking place, and ultimately empowering people and giving them voice in this process. That brings me to ask about the mechanisms that perhaps are in place to ensure that marginalized communities in Namibia, in the rural and indigenous populations, how they benefit from the green growth initiatives funded by this grant.
The rural communities are really the target groups of this project. So the role of civil society organizations, of these 7 NGOs that are contracted under 3 projects that have established consortia to carry out these projects that are very complementary, in fact. So their role is to reach out. Some of them will be reaching out to local communities
and therefore also to marginalized groups, precisely to inform them, to make them aware of their rights, but also aware of their opportunities, because with the green energy journey that we are embarking in, and where European companies are exerting quite a prominent role, there are significant opportunities, job opportunities, development opportunities that people need to be aware of. So to maximize these opportunities for people, the civil society organizations will come into play.
Yeah. Madam Martins, in which regions will these projects commence, or will it sort of be a rollout into the 14 different regions?
It will be focusing around 5 to 6 regions, so the different projects are looking at different regions, but the objective really is to reach out to the communities that are, let's say, closest to the projects, be in the oil and gas sector, the mining sector, as well as the green hydrogen, where we have 9 projects being rolled out across the country.
Well, just as we round off our discussion, if you don't mind to give us a breakdown of these different projects so we have a better understanding.
Yes. So as I was saying, the overall budget for this activity, which is quite considerable from our point of view. In fact, what we have earmarked for civil society is bigger than what we have earmarked in terms of capacity building assistance to the administration. Can be roughly divided into 3, so each of the 3 projects will have a budget of roughly 14 million Namibian dollars, and work in consortia, so several organizations, NGOs will be involved in that. The one led by the Deutsche Welle will be focusing in particular in training of media and civil society on high quality and fact-based reporting. So it's really to inform, to bring information to the Namibian public.
Right.
Whereas the Namibian Nature Foundation will be focusing more at capacity building civil society organizations. They're going to work with 160 civil society actors, with a special angle on environmental impact assessment, so to help them to equipment with means to carry out environmental impact assessments. Right. And the third NGO, which is led by the Integrated Regional Development and Natural Conservation Organization, they will be focusing more really on advocacy, on policy advice, and also capacitating civil society organizations. So
Fantastic.
It'll be a very complementary program.
Indeed, it sounds so. Well, thank you so much for your time this evening, and thank you so much for joining us here on the Daily Roundup.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure.
Well, there you have it. When we come back, we've got one more discussion for you, so do stay with us.